Um, Baby-led weaning can be very stressful and scary, especially if you're a first-time mom, you don't have that experience. The scares of choking is, oh my god, I had nightmares about it. Anyways, my baby is 8 months old now. We have been doing baby-led weaning for about 2.5 months now. I would say we are doing it a little bit more on the safer side, which is totally fine. She's tried plenty of foods. She loves her food. She happily eats all like finger foods as well as purees. That is actually a really common misconception about baby-led weaning, is that purees are a no-no, and that's absolutely not the point of baby-led weaning, which I wish they told me when I was just starting out, because that would alleviate so much stress. Puree is also a texture that is perfectly fine to give if you're doing baby-led weaning. The point is that you don't want to spoon feed your baby. You preload the spoon, and then the baby actually feeds themselves, takes like the spoon to the mouth. And so yeah, purees are totally fine. Today's the day off, so I plan on prepping some food, baby-led weaning style, to have for like easier meal options. Foods and recipes that are like freezer safe or freezer friendly, I guess, have been working out really well for our family. So I always try to keep a bunch of different options in the freezer so that we can take them out and baby has good healthy options to eat without us having to actually fully cook every night. I plan on preparing 3 different options for food today. I want to do a cauliflower cheesy tater tots. I'm gonna do shrimp cakes, and I also hopefully will have enough time to make like cottage cheese apple muffins too. And then while I'm making all that, I'm also gonna do like an inventory of my freezer to see what I still have and make a list so that it's easier to keep track of that stuff and see what we need to restock. So figured I'd take you with me. The first thing I'm gonna make is the cheesy cauliflower veggie like tater tots. Very easy recipe. I'm gonna chop up some kale, cauliflower, carrots, and a little bit of broccoli. Mix it with cheese and then some flour and some egg, and then bake them into tater tots. This is a very easy, yummy, really healthy recipe, and it's freezer friendly, which is what I'm going for. I'm gonna try to like finely chop the vegetables but not make them fully into puree, because I want those tater tots to have like some texture. So I combined grated cauliflower, kale, carrot, a cup of cheese, and then 2 eggs and some oat flour and all this. And then I'm gonna use like this medium cookie scoop to scoop up some mixture, form it into a tater tot, and then bake it in the oven. This is what I got. I love this recipe. Any vegetables that you have in your house, you can kind of cook them the same way, combine them with some like flour, breadcrumbs, and eggs. You can add cheese, you don't have to. I love this recipe for making all kinds of meatballs. I just get ground beef or turkey or pork or chicken and mix it with like grated or finely chopped vegetables like that, form them in the same like tater tot kind of shaped things, cook them, and they're great. They're really delicious. It's a great way to add vegetables into your baby's diet, and they're freezer friendly, which is just amazing. So this is what we got after 20 minutes of baking at 380 degrees. I'm gonna let them chill and then portion some for the fridge and put the rest in the freezer. You guys, the smell in the kitchen from these cauliflower cheesy tots is so good. I'm gonna try one right now. They are so good. I added some like parsley and onion powder, so there's a little like herbal taste to them, and they are super soft, so they're really good for baby-led weaning because they're very easily like smooshable, so I don't believe that they're a risk of choking. So cauliflower tots are cooling down, and the next thing on the menu is shrimp cakes. I'm gonna add some broccoli and bell pepper to them for like the extra taste and vegetables. And shrimp is the only thing that we haven't done for like allergen introduction. So I'm really excited to mark that off the list and then know that we are good to go for all the foods. So the recipe for the shrimp cakes is half a pound of raw, peeled, deveined, and tails off shrimp, 3 tablespoons of breadcrumbs or flour, 2 tablespoons of diced bell pepper, 1 tablespoon of fresh parsley, 1 tablespoon of green onion, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 egg, and then garlic and black pepper. Same deal, I'm gonna use my food processor to like finely chop everything but not make it into like a full puree, and then make the patties and bake them in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. So I got all the ingredients prepped. This is shrimp, this is egg, flour, green onion, and bell pepper, and then some broccoli here, and I added garlic powder and parsley. I'm gonna mix it all together and make that in the patties. So I did scoops of that mixture onto parchment paper. Now I'm just gonna flatten them out a little bit with a spoon, and then once the oven's ready at 400 degrees, put it in for about 15 minutes. So this is what the shrimp cakes look like. I tried to like get one off the parchment paper and it just lifted off, so they worked. It doesn't look like they would hold their shape together, but I promise they did. So I'm gonna let them cool a little bit and then prep some for the freezer and some for the fridge for the next couple days. And while this is happening, I want to do like a little inventory of my freezer space. So I have all kinds of food prepped in here for the baby so that it's just a little bit easier to feed her during the week, and I want to make sure I know what I have. And yeah, I'm gonna pull everything out, see what we have, write it down, put it back in. So I have blueberry and strawberry in like those like little like milksicle shapes. They're like less than an ounce each. I take 2 at a time and mix it with her yogurt, and that's like a good amount. There's mango puree that I froze in like the 2-ounce, well, like they're not cubes, I don't really know, like the round shapes. So those are really yummy as well. I got mangoes when they were in season, very ripe, and just prepped a bunch so that we can use them like throughout the year. I prepped like a whole bunch of like mango and peach puree that baby loved and put in the deep freezer, so that's gonna be for winter, and this is what we're using kind of like now. Mango, like pears, also freeze really well, and then you can just thaw it out in the fridge overnight and give it to your baby. So I have some of that here. I cut up a bunch of fresh zucchini and sweet potato with like a crinkle cutter, so I can just take like a little bit at a time and steam it. This is banana blueberry puree that's also really good to like add to the yogurt or oatmeal or even by itself. This is still broccoli puree, and then this is spinach puree, and I like to thaw it out one like at a time and add it to her like to baby's eggs in the morning to just add a little like iron and just, you know, a little extra goodness in there. Then I got a whole bunch of sweet potato puree that I like to mix with all kinds of things, including the ground beef that I ran through the food processor. So it's also like the cubes of like puree that mixes really well with like vegetable puree. I have, this is butternut squash puree. This is spears of butternut squash, and then just a couple of cubes left of the apple puree was cinnamon. I use these little glass jars. I ordered them off Amazon. It was like a 20 or 24 pack, really good price, and they're really nice. They are They hold up to 4 ounces of food. They have like measurement on the side. They have a lid. You can write right on the lid with a dry erase marker, and then they just like wipe off really easily. So it's super nice. I'm gonna take, for the next few days, I'm gonna take a cube of sweet potato puree and a cube of ground beef puree. And then I'm also gonna take like a little mini cube of blueberry and a couple of mini cubes of strawberries, so I can mix that with baby's yogurt, and then these go in the fridge. Both my husband and I work full-time, so it's just not very realistic for us to like cook fresh meals every day. At this point, the baby is over 8 months old, so we're trying to do 3 meals a day. This system was like the freezer and prepping like puree and meatballs and like veggie tots and so on. Really works for us because it's great that I can just take like a few out at a time, put them in the fridge, know that they will thaw out perfectly overnight, and then I can just microwave them for like 20-30 seconds, and there's a good meal for baby girl. And this way I can also make sure that we're giving her all kinds of different foods every day. Usually for breakfast we try to do either scrambled eggs for her, or with like some kind of vegetable, or like a toast was yogurt, was berries, or peanut butter, like stuff like that. And then for lunch and dinner, I really try to have a protein, typically meat, a vegetable, and then like a fruit for a little dessert. So it's really nice to have all that prepped, because between like the different types of meatballs and then like the vegetables and steamed just vegetables as is, or like those veggie tots, or purees, and then the shrimp cakes now, sometimes we do salmon for her. It just like makes it really easy to have a diverse diet for her without like spending a ton of time every day on cooking. So yeah, that's a great system that we have going on that really works for us. And yeah, these jars are really great. I just wrote on the top of the lid what it is, and then once I'm done, like they're so easy to just wipe off. So I'm gonna keep like 2 shrimp cakes for tonight and maybe like 2 for tomorrow. So I'm gonna set them aside, and then the rest will go in the freezer. I usually take like a food container, some parchment paper, and put everything that I freeze like that in layers and let it freeze first, and then I'll transfer it into the reusable Ziploc bags, and that's how they're gonna be like actually stored in the freezer. Because otherwise they stick together and then they break when you try to take some out, and it's just nah. Alright, so the last recipe for the day is the cottage cheese apple muffins. I have a recipe right here, so I'm reading off the paper. It needs 1 cup of cottage cheese blended, half a cup of applesauce, 1 egg, 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, a pinch of salt. We're gonna mix all wet ingredients, then add in all dry ingredients, fill the mini muffin cups, and then bake them for about 15 minutes at 375 degrees. Baby is still sleeping, so I have all of this ready. I am using almond flour for this. I'm gonna add a little bit of flaxseed, like the ground flaxseed too, and then I think I might add some blueberries into the recipe. So yeah, pretty easy. So I have to report, because this day could not be accident-free. Apparently almond flour is not the same as regular flour, so you need to like account for that in the recipe. So I'm gonna have to figure that out, but here's what happened to my muffins. I think they were supposed to puff up, but instead they like absolutely did not. I'm gonna see what it tastes like. I can probably still like do something with that and feed that to the baby as like a cottage cheese mixture thing, just not as muffins. But oh well, That's how we learn, right?